Film Fuse.
Hello and welcome to the Film Fuse podcast. My name is Cameron Rhodes. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the channel.
How you doing?
This is our first podcast. We're trying something new out. This is something I've really always wanted to do, and so I'm excited to start. The first topic we have is Beverly Hills Axel F. So you guys know that Beverly Hills Cop is been around for a long time. Been around 40 years now. This summer it's been 40 years. It's kind of hard to think that it's been around that long. I was talking with my father-in-law the other day, and it was pretty crazy just to think that like they were all my age, you know, in their 30s, in their 20s. Eddie was obviously in his 20s, and it's just cool to think about like how times have changed. Obviously, Eddie Murphy was 22 at the time when the first Beverly Hills came out, and now he's like 62. But yeah, it's just a fun franchise. Obviously, the music is iconic. Actually, one of my ringtones is the Beverly Hills Cop song. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this franchise over the years. It's one of those ones that I wasn't allowed to watch for a long time because my dad used to let me sneak and watch some stuff, right? Like I used to be able to watch the Rush Hours, the Rush Hour 2s if they were on cable, right? Like if they were just like on the VHS, I couldn't watch it. So it was always one of those things where there was a lot more cussing in Beverly Hills Cop and a lot of those 80s action movies like Lethal Weapon than there were, you know, in like a Rush Hour. Although Chris Tucker cussed a lot, you know, it was a little different. Those were PG-13 movies. And so I came to him a little later, came to him after college. And so I saw Beverly Hills Cop 1. I really enjoyed it. They actually remastered it in 4K probably about 3 years ago. And so got to watch Beverly Hills Cop 2. Me and my wife watched Beverly Hills Cop 2 the other night, directed by the great Tony Scott. Right now I'm actually doing kind of a rewatch of 90s movies. And so that's been fun to go back through. Man, those 90s movies were so much fun. I mean, technically, the 80s and 90s whole range was just a lot of fun with the Terminators, the Predators, all the way going up into the Con Airs and the first Mission Impossible film. I actually watched The Last Boy Scout last week, which was with Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis. It was coming off right after Die Hard. So this whole era of film is just real fun to look back on. And so we have another sequel. And so does this sequel live up to the hype? Does it live up to the Beverly Hills Cop name? I don't know. Let's check it out. So I'm happy to say I had a really good time with Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. My wife and I actually just left the other room watching it. We had a good time. We were laughing. The script is not like super great, right? Like I know Eddie Murphy's been on the talk shows a lot lately, and he's been talking about how, you know, I waited 15 years because I really wanted to make sure the script was right. And, you know, you hear actors say that a lot and you're always kind of like, eh. But, you know, I can definitely tell that they put some effort into it. Like I was interested in the plot, right? So we'll go, you know, this is a little bit more of a spoiler discussion than normal. I usually do in my YouTube videos. Basically, when Eddie Murphy's daughter, or I should say Axel Foley's daughter, Jane, starts representing a client that actually was, you know, suggested to be a cop killer. Basically, she's almost being blackmailed, or I guess you could say forced into stopping the case. They almost throw her off a parking garage. And so things get pretty crazy pretty fast. And that's when Rosewood calls Axel and says, hey, you know, I kind of got her into some mess and, you know, I need you to come help us out. As soon as, you know, Axel gets into town, you know, Rosewood is already gone. He's been kidnapped. And so, you know, it's just him and his daughter trying to figure out what's going on and trying to get to the bottom of all this. And so as far as the story goes, you know, it's pretty simple. It's just, you know, figure out where Rosewood is, figure out who's the crooked person at the top. It's funny because Kevin Bacon's in this film, and I really like Kevin Bacon, but, you know, I felt like I watched Bad Boys Ride or Die a couple months ago, or I guess last month, and there's a scene where Mike and Marcus go into the police office, or to the captain's office, and there's a new person, a new guy in a suit, and really buttoned up, and you're just like, you're the bad guy. You're definitely the bad guy. Like me and my wife clocked it immediately. And then this happens the same way in this movie. I'm like, is this the same writer? Like, as soon as you see Kevin Bacon, you're just like, okay, this is the bad guy. And in fairness, Axel clocks it too. He knows it from the beginning as well, because he sees him in some Gucci shoes. And so it was really fun, just getting to see Eddie do his thing. One of the things about Beverly Hills Cop is you just love seeing Eddie Murphy walk into a place, just bullcrapping his way into whatever situation he needs to get himself in or get himself out of. And that's the thing about Beverly Hills Cop. And that's the thing that Eddie still has. So regardless if the story is great or not, I feel like that's one of the things that really is always just core to the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. It's just Eddie Murphy being Axel Foley, doing cool stuff, getting in and out of places that he shouldn't, trying to figure out the bad guy's plan, trying to figure out what he needs to do to get the job done. And that's why you love Axel. He really has no regard for any kind of police etiquette. He's always just going to do whatever he needs to do to get the job done. And they didn't change that about this. So that's what I really liked about it. So Eddie's a little bit older, so, he's not quite as animated as he used to be. Definitely still animated. It's definitely still fun. Definitely still quick-witted. He has the smarts to get in and out of every situation. So I thought that was the key to this film, right? Like, can you give us a good story? Yeah, we want that, but also just make it funny, and Eddie's always going to be funny. So I really like that element of it. It wasn't a classic. I wouldn't say it's, better than the first or the second. It's definitely probably better than the third. I've only ever heard about the third, and most people, I was talking to my coworker the other day, he was kind of born in that time period where these were really big, and he didn't even realize they made a third one. That's how bad that was, and he loves 90s action movies. So yeah, it was a good time. Obviously, one of the things that I really enjoyed about the film was seeing how Axel, he's been so determined his whole life. So obviously there's a situation where Axel and his wife obviously got divorced, moved his daughter out of Detroit and into Beverly Hills. She resents him, and there's just obviously some really, heated tension between the two. And, I'm a sucker for seeing, a daddy-daughter story kind of start, in one direction and end up, on a good note. And so I liked the relationship with Axel and his daughter. Obviously she's really upset with him for leaving and or at least sending her to Beverly Hills and not really being invested in her life as much. She obviously pushed him away, but they kind of talk a lot about in the film how the parent has the responsibility to always be the parent. The kid's going to be the kids. And I thought that was a very important message. But I did like how she, ultimately took some accountability for it as well. Just being like, I'm an adult too. And, we should try to start this over. So I loved getting to see that relationship blossom over the course of the film. And I thought she did a really good job of giving us a little bit of that backstory. I really kind of could feel like I could visualize some of this history there. And so hadn't seen her before, but I thought she did a really good job. I think his name is Taylor Page. Hadn't really seen much of her, but she did a really good job. My boy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. My wife, during the movie, she was like, where's he from? What's his name? And I was just like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And she's like, how do you know this? I'm like, babe, this is what I do. I'm a movie guy. Obviously, Looper is a great one. Premium Rush is a great one. Project Power. What else has Joseph Gordon-Levitt done? So much stuff. I told her, oh, you know where you know him from? It's from The Dark Knight Rises. She was like, oh yeah, I think so. She didn't know what it was, but that's okay. He did a great job. I think, with this film, Rosewood and Taggart are a little older, and so you don't have quite the ability for them to be on the ground, boots on the ground with Eddie doing all the shenanigans, because they're significantly older than him, at least 10 plus years. And so you need that character that's going to be flying a helicopter through the middle of Beverly Hills, shooting bad guys in the head, doing all of the things to be a partner, to Axel. And obviously there's a little bit of history between him and Jane, and Eddie's kind of noticing it throughout the film. And, I think that secretly he kind of didn't mind the relationship. So I think secretly he kind of was glad that, or was hoping for their relationship to kind of blossom into something. At least that's the way I took it. Yeah, guys, it was a really good film. Like I said, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Like I said, not like a 4.5 out of 5, or not a classic by any stretch of the imagination, but a really good time nonetheless. So, as far as what Eddie's going to do next, I don't know. This was a lot better than Coming to America 2. I didn't care for Coming to America 2 as much as I would have liked. There were some funny things about the film, but, they didn't really focus on Eddie's character as much as they should have. They kind of tried to pass it along to the son character, and I just felt like that was a mistake. It should have just focused on the Princess of Luna. And so that's what I think I liked about this film, is that we're here with Axel. This is Beverly Hills Cop. We're not trying to pass the torch. This is my franchise, and we're going to do it right. And so I really like that. So whatever Eddie does next, I'm excited. It is rated R, so it's got some language, no nudity or anything like that, but it's got some language. So if you're not comfortable with that, obviously, my mom, she's not big into the cursing in movies, but she does love Eddie. She loves Beverly Hills Cop. So I'm kind of like, Mom, are you going to watch? I don't know. But I understand it. Your convictions are your convictions. And, so it's not going to be for everybody. But ultimately, I really enjoyed the film. I think you guys should check it out. It's on Netflix. And like I said, if you have a Netflix subscription, you can pop it up on this Independence Day weekend and watch it, or anytime you watch it after this. And I think you'll have a good time. Just go in with just normal expectations. It's not going to blow your socks off, but it'll be a really good time. So guys, really appreciate you checking out the podcast. This is going to be the first of many. I really like this format, just kind of talking to you more relaxed. The YouTube videos are fun for reviews, but I also really like the podcast format as well. And so I'll definitely be having more guests on. I have tons of friends who are in the film, in the movies, and we'll definitely have some special guests on the podcast to talk about some other movies. Also, I just like movie news, and if anything new comes out that I want to talk about, any new news comes out, we'll definitely be here to talk about it. So I appreciate you guys listening to the first episode of the Film Fuse podcast, hosted by me, Cameron Rhodes, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Film Fuse.